The first thing I felt was his arms around me, tight, desperate, like a man drowning. I froze. My body went rigid against the marble wall of the rooftop helipad, the city lights of Dubai glittering 30 floors below us like scattered diamonds on black silk. The wind whipped my hair across my face, but I couldn't move. Couldn't breathe. Because the man holding me, the same man who had spent the last 5 years trying to bury me, my company, my name, was crying into my shoulder. "I'm sorry, Anya," Arjun Malhotra whispered, voice cracking. "I'm so sorry. Please, just be mine. I can't do this anymore." I thought my rival billionaire was finally here to take his revenge. Instead, he was begging me to love him. Like this video right now if you believe enemies can become lovers, and subscribe with the bell on because this story is about to break your heart and put it back together in ways you never expected. Let's dive in. My name is Anya Raswa. 28 years old. Self-made. The girl from a one-room chawl in Dharavi who now owns half the skyline of Mumbai. They call me the Ice Queen of Indian tech. They say I have no heart, only code and ambition. They're half right. 5 years ago, at the Thai Global Summit in Delhi, I was nobody. A 23-year-old dropout with a laptop and a dream to build the cheapest solar-powered phone the world had ever seen. I stood in the audience, clutching my pitch deck like a shield, watching Arjun Malhotra own the stage. He was 30 then. Tall, impossibly handsome, the kind of man who walked into a room and the air rearranged itself around him. Heir to the Malhotra empire. Oxford educated. Already a billionaire before he could legally drink in America. He spoke about ethical disruption and technology with soul. I hated him on sight. Not because he was privileged, though he was. But because when the Q&A came, I raised my trembling hand and asked, "How do you plan to make your luxury electric cars affordable for the 300 million Indians who still don't have electricity?" He smiled that slow, lethal smile. "Miss Raswa. Anya Raswa. Miss Raswa," he said, "some people build toys for the rich. Some people dream of toys for the poor. Only one actually ships." The room laughed. I died inside. That night I promised myself 2 things. 1, I would build that solar phone. 2, I would make Arjun Malhotra choke on his own words. Fast forward 5 years. My company, Raswa Energies, launched the Solara One, a 9,999 Indian rupees phone that charged on sunlight, ran for a week on a single charge, and connected villages that telecom giants had ignored for decades. We hit $1 billion in revenue in 18 months. And Arjun? His much-hyped electric car, the Aurora, missed deadline after deadline. Investors fled. The press called it the most expensive failure in Indian corporate history. I didn't just beat him. I annihilated him. The rivalry became legend. Tabloids called it the billionaire blood feud. Every conference, every award show, we were seated as far apart as possible, because last time we ended up in a screaming match on stage. He accused me of stealing his lead engineer, I didn't. I accused him of bribing government officials to delay my spectrum licenses, he did. We sued each other. Countersued. Leaked emails. Destroyed reputations. I told Vogue India, Arjun Malhotra is everything wrong with inherited wealth. He told CNBC, Anya Raswa would sell her own mother if the valuation was right. I thought I hated him. I thought hate was clean, sharp, useful. Turns out hate is just love that hasn't found the right words yet. The night everything changed started like every other nightmare. It was the eve of the Global Tech Gala in Dubai, the one night a year when every billionaire on the planet pretends to care about climate change while flying in on private jets. I was supposed to receive the Disruptor of the Decade award. Arjun was supposed to be in New York, licking his wounds after Aurora Motors filed for Chapter 11. But when I stepped out of the elevator onto the rooftop of the Burj Al Arab, there he was. Alone. No entourage. No bodyguards. Just Arjun Malhotra in a black tuxedo, tie undone, hair messy, holding a glass of something dark. The wind was brutal up there. My emerald silk gown pressed against my legs like it wanted to escape. He turned when he heard my heels. Our eyes locked. For a moment, neither of us spoke. 5 years of venom hung between us like smoke. Then he smiled, not the shark smile, not the media smile. A small, broken thing. You won, he said simply. I lifted my chin. I know. He laughed once, hollow. Of course you do. He took a step closer. I took one back. My spine hit the glass railing. Anya, he said, voice raw, I didn't come here to fight. Then why are you here, Arjun? My voice was ice. To beg for a bailout? Because Raswa Energies doesn't do charity. He flinched like I'd slapped him. Then, to my absolute shock, he dropped to his knees. Right there on the cold marble, in a $20,000 tuxedo, the proudest man I'd ever known went down on his knees and looked up at me with wet eyes. I don't want your money, he whispered. I lost everything. The company. The houses. My father won't even take my calls. I have nothing left to lose. He reached for my hand. I let him take it because I was too stunned to pull away. Except you, he said. I still have you to lose. I laughed, sharp, disbelieving. You never had me. I know. His thumb brushed my knuckles. But I've been in love with you since the night you asked me that question in Delhi. The night you looked at me like I was small. I hated you for it. Then I hated myself more because I wanted you to look at me again. Any way you would. My heart was hammering so hard I thought the gown would tear at the seams. You destroyed my supply lines in 2022, I said, voice shaking. You leaked my medical records when I had dengue. I know what I did. Tears tracked down his cheeks. I was terrified of you. You were building everything I claimed to believe in, and you were doing it better, faster, without a single silver spoon. Every time you won, I felt like I was disappearing. So I tried to make you disappear first. He pressed his forehead to my hand. I'm not asking you to forgive me tonight. I'm asking you to let me spend the rest of my life earning it. I couldn't breathe. The city spun below us. All the noise, the music from the gala downstairs, the helicopters, the wind, faded until there was only his voice. I sold my last shares yesterday, he said quietly. I'm not a billionaire anymore, Anya. I'm just a man who was cruel to the woman he loves because he didn't know how else to keep her close. He looked up. Hate me if you need to. But please, don't walk away tonight. I should have left. Every survival instinct I'd honed in boardrooms and back alleys screamed at me to step over him and never look back. But my feet wouldn't move. Because the truth, the one I'd buried under 5 years of armor, was this. I had been in love with him too. Every lawsuit, every insult, every midnight strategy session where I whispered his name like a curse, it was all because he was the only person who ever saw me clearly. The only one who never underestimated me. Even when he was trying to destroy me, he was the only one who treated me like an equal. I dropped to my knees in front of him, silk pooling around us like green fire. His eyes went wide. I cupped his wet face in my hands. You absolute idiot, I whispered. Then I kissed him. It wasn't soft or sweet. It was 5 years of rage and longing crashing together, teeth and tears and apologies neither of us knew how to say. He kissed me back like I was oxygen and he'd been underwater for half a decade. When we pulled apart, foreheads pressed together, both of us were shaking. I'm still going to make you grovel, I said against his mouth. He laughed through the tears. I'll grovel on live television if you want. I want a public apology. Full page in the Times. Done. And you're coming to work for me. He pulled back, startled. What? VP of Ethical Innovation. You'll report directly to me. And if you ever pull corporate espionage again, I'll fire you and then ruin you so thoroughly you'll be selling chai outside Dadar station. He grinned, the first real grin I'd ever seen from him. Yes, ma'am. We stood up slowly. He offered me his arm like we were at a ball, not a rooftop where both our empires had just crumbled and reformed into something new. I took it. As we walked toward the elevator, he said quietly, Anya? I still have one thing left. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a tiny velvet box. Inside was the ugliest ring I'd ever seen, a rough, uncut diamond the size of a rupee coin, set in recycled gold. I had it made from the first solar panel you ever sold, he said. The one that powered a village school in Rajasthan. I bought it off the headmaster. He said the children cried when the lights came on for the first time. My eyes filled. It's not worth anything, he said. But it's the only thing I own that actually matters. He slipped it onto my finger. It fit perfectly. The elevator doors opened. Inside were 20 stunned tech billionaires who'd come looking for us. They took one look, me in my torn, grass-stained gown, mascara everywhere, holding hands with a red-eyed Arjun Malhotra, and the cameras started flashing. I lifted my chin. Ladies and gentlemen, I announced, meet my new vice president. And my future husband. The internet broke for 3 straight days. 6 months later. We got married on the same rooftop. I wore a simple red lehenga. He wore a sherwani made from fabric woven by the women's cooperative my company sponsors in Kutch. Instead of a guest list, we invited every child whose village got electricity because of Solara phones. 3,000 kids in their best clothes, running wild under fairy lights powered by the solar panels Arjun installed himself. During the fairas, he whispered the vows he'd written. I vow to never again mistake fear for strategy. I vow to build with you, never against you. I vow that every time the world calls you cold, I will remind them you are the sun that taught 1 billion people to see in the dark. I cried so hard the pundit had to pause. Today, Rasho Malhotra Energies is the fastest growing clean tech company on the planet. We make electric cars that cost less than a Honda City and run on rooftops in slums. Arjun still reports to me. Some mornings I make him bring me coffee just because I can. He still kneels, but now it's to tie my shoelaces when pregnancy swells my feet. Yes, I'm 7 months pregnant with our daughter. We're naming her Solara. And every night, after the baby kicks and the monitors beep and Mumbai glitters outside our window, Arjun wraps his arms around me from behind and whispers the same thing. Thank you for not walking away that night. I turn in his arms and kiss him slow. Thank you for being worth staying for. So if you ever think hate is forever. If you ever think some wounds are too deep. Remember the girl from Dharavi and the boy who had everything, who spent 5 years trying to destroy each other, only to realize the only thing they ever really wanted was to hold each other's hands while they built a better world. Love isn't the absence of war. Sometimes love is the ceasefire that comes when both sides finally drop their weapons and see the person standing on the other side has been bleeding too. Hit that like button if this story made you believe in second chances. Subscribe because there are 1 million more love stories waiting to be told, and I'll be here telling them as long as you keep showing up. Drop a comment and tell me, have you ever fallen in love with someone you were supposed to hate? This is Anya Rasho Malhotra, signing off. Never forget, sometimes the person trying to take you down is only doing it because they're terrified of how high you'll fly together. See you in the next one. And Arjun says hi. He's making chai. Yes, the billionaire makes the chai now. I trained him well.